Hey, everybody, I'm your host, Felipe, and you're listening to the Total Basis Podcast. And with me, as always, is Sean Flannery. Sean, how you doing?
What is up, guys? I am doing awesome. Rutgers won. The Mets split their doubleheader, and Francisco Lindor actually had a good baseball game, which is like shocking to see. But yeah, it was a good day.
Well, we're down to this probably has to be our last Sunday of the summer, I guess. I mean, I know summer doesn't officially end until mid-September, September 20th, around there. But it's a brisk, cool day here in Chicagoland. I actually was thinking of getting my sweater and going outside, but then I remember that I have a bunch of things to do inside before I head out to tonight's big all elite wrestling pay-per-view event, all out right here in my backyard, Sean. I'm gonna go to the infamous Now Arena, what used to be known as the Sears Center here in the northwest suburbs of Chicago here, and I'm gonna watch some of the good old fashioned wrestling over there.
Good old wrestling.
Yeah, I get to see the pugilist prize fighting performers get paid.
There we go. Alliteration.
Yeah. Oh man, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. So that's what I'll be doing tonight after the show. So I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, we have our own wrestling to talk about here on the show. Is that correct, Sean?
Our own wrestling.
Yeah, well, there's teams wrestling for those playoff spots in the Baseball Live Fantasy Baseball League,
jockeying up and down the standings.
Hell yeah! Now I don't know how to do this because how we should go about this. We have 12 teams to cover, but I don't know if I want to talk about everybody's team. Maybe we should just talk about their chances of making the playoffs, or maybe in terms of like the guy who's in dead last in this league at 16 and 27 is our buddy Jet from Wisconsin, big Milwaukee Brewers fan, but he's in dead last.
Yeah, well, didn't he had the interesting run last year where we all made fun of his draft, and then he was like top 4 or something like that in the standings come playoffs.
I think he made the final.
He beat Aaron. He beat Aaron. No, yeah,
the other way around. Aaron beat him.
Oh, in the finals. Okay, gotcha. Because I lost once again to Aaron.
So
not bitter or anything.
No, just things to think about for over the long off season. But I don't think there's no way on God's green earth Jet is making the playoffs this year. There's no way. I just don't see it.
Okay? And if you look at it, it's not for a lack of some terrible pieces. He just losing Ian Anderson for a large part of the year. He had Corbin Burns, who he had last year, and we all laughed when he picked him super early, and we were the ones laughing. He has one of the best relief pitchers, Alex Reyes, in terms of just pure saves. Which we don't count. We only count net saves. So Alex Reyes is actually. Oh, okay. Yeah, we count both. We count both
this year. Yeah,
and just not enough pitching depth. He had Fernando Tatis Jr. Obviously was awesome, but hurt a lot of the year. He had a vastly underperforming DJ LeMahieu. Teoscar Hernandez, probably his best value pick. He had him, if I can look up when he was drafted. The 14th round, second overall pick. So pretty good value for Teoscar Hernandez, who has now given him a 295 average and 92 RBIs and 24 home runs. So that actually leads his team in RBIs.
So he's going to have a top 4 pick no matter what. I mean, he's dead last, but he doesn't get automatically the number 1 pick overall next year. He has to have a top 4 pick because he has to duke it out with wrestle it out against the other 4 bad teams in this league in a separate consolation bracket. So right now, as it stands, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to win it unless Fernando Tatis carries him like he carried him last year. But in terms of keepers, because now we get to keep 6 for next season. I guess Tatis, LeMahieu, those are 2 keepers right there.
I'm thinking Tatis, Teoscar, possibly even Will Smith at catcher, and then Anderson and Burns, and maybe Reyes if you want to lock up a elite, save source before the draft.
Yeah, Burns. I mean, Burns would definitely be one. I think you got to keep Lance Lynn too if you're
possibly.
Jet.
Yeah. Where did on the IL? Gotcha. Yeah.
So Tatis, I got LeMahieu.
You see, if I had LeMahieu, I wouldn't keep LeMahieu.
Yeah, I would.
I think I can find something better. I honestly trust myself to find something better, or draft him, just draft him, but keep somebody else.
No, I don't know, man.
Like Jared Walsh.
I think LeMahieu still has one more good year where he's at the top, and that's something we should really talk about is how our Well, I'll talk to you after the show. But I think LeMahieu has at least one more good season where he bounces back and cements his spot as the number 1 second baseman again next year. He was number 1 in my book, by the way. And that leaves us with one more. I think Will Smith's my 6th guy, just because catching we found out is so weak.
And I was very upset when he drafted Will Smith in front of me. Question with his roster, he has Adolis Garcia, who's on the verge of having a 30 home run rookie season. You don't keep him?
I'm sorry, dude. He has a 295 on base percentage for the season.
Okay, I'm asking. I am just asking the question which I feel needs to be asked.
I'm surprised you.
I wouldn't keep him. I wouldn't keep him. But I mean, this is a 30 home run guy in his rookie season. You feel like maybe you would take a chance on it, but
I would have tried trading him away a long time ago. But I know trades in our league aren't a big deal. So. But a 295 on base with a 248 batting average, those are 2 categories that we keep track of. And with the 164 strikeouts leading the league, leading his team.
in August, he struck out 42 times.
There's only 31 days in August, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of strikeouts.
So that's part of the reason why Jets team is struggling right now. Jet is beating a playoff contender and Leon's team, 11-10 at the moment, so that's kind of dashing away Leon's positioning in the standings at the moment. So that should be interesting to see how that pans out for poor Leon, who probably
he does have a playoff spot locked up.
He
being
does,
in fourth place at 25-18.
It's just about seeding at this point, the difference between being a second and third seed, second or third seed. And as you know, the tiebreaker when there's a tie in the playoffs is the home team wins. So you got to take advantage of that. I believe.
Yeah,
that's just me. Where the hell is he? Oh, there he is. Yeah, he's
smoking aces.
Yeah. How do I do that? Oh, okay, never mind. So anyway, Jet playing the role of spoiler in today's game. So we'll see how that goes. The next thing we're going to talk about is Mario Margola, our buddy over there at Sportfolio and my former colleague at xnsports.com, and he writes for Fantasy Pros, so he's our league expert, not having an expert-like season so far this year, and he is currently beating Aaron's team, however, 13-9. So he's playing spoiler as well. All these losing teams are finally showing up and say, no, we're not going to take, you guys are not going to take advantage of us. He is eliminated from the playoffs, it looks like, right?
Yeah. And his was, I always feel like he does something crazy in the draft. Like this is kind of like his experimental league, because I don't think he's done well in either of the 3 years, but you look at the roster and you can definitely see what went wrong. He had Byron Buxton, Mike Trout, and Adalberto Mondesi, all 3 great players who missed way too much time. Mm-hmm. And if you had added those pieces into the ones that he had starting basically all year, guys like Austin Riley, Aaron Judge, Jazz Chisholm, Ryan McMahon, all had great years, but half of his offense was on the IL. And I mean, and you look at the numbers that Mondesi, Buxton, and Trout put up this year, and if you had just extrapolated that over a full 162, I really think it would have made a difference for Mario's team here.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of marveled at his team at the beginning after the draft, how good it looked, and all the things that he talked about on our podcast back in March, they came to fruition, right? A lot of the things that we got to go after Adalberto Mondesi. You just got to do it. You got to do it because he leads the league in stolen bases. You got to do it. I feel like if you don't get him, then I just think you're punting stolen bases when you get the chance. And I know that's like his big thing. And there's a lot of guys that he picked that he liked, but like you said, they're not coming to fruition. So again, since he's a losing team, he has to fight for that top pick next year against Jet at the very least. Trying to figure out who the 6 keepers are, and starting with me, I'll go with Chris Bryan as a guy you got to keep. Randy Rosarena, or as I like to call him, San Rice. Aaron Judge has to be kept. Ooh, I know, and I know he loves Keston Hiura, but I think he has to go with.
There's no way you can keep Keston Hiura after this year. No way.
Yeah. And then we go to the pitchers, I guess. I guess you'll go with. Oh, would you? All right, I'll just take a stab and then you tell me, because I got a question to ask you after I make my 2 pitchers. Jose Barrios, I'm going to go with, and Julio Urias. Now, my question to you is, if you're Mario, he loves Clayton Kershaw. Is that someone you keep on this team?
I think at this age, I mean, Kershaw's still productive. He's just not pitching as much, which, I mean, isn't shocking. I don't. It's tough. I mean, he's having a sub-1 whip year. he's been awesome. He's just been hurt. If I'm him, he has so many good offensive players. I think my keepers are. I want to say you keep Jazz Chisholm, but I'm not sure if you can with how many pieces he has. I would keep Judge, Riley.
Oh God.
Maybe Bryant. And then obviously I would keep Mondesi, Buxton, Trout. I'd keep all three of those guys. I'd go big or go home. I mean, those are the guys you didn't have them this year. Keep them and just pray to God you get them next year.
You keep Austin Riley despite the fact that this is only like one decent season. I mean, it's more than decent, but compared to his what we were expecting out of him and how fast he started, you think that this is him for real now?
I do think I don't think he'll stay like this forever, but he has shown some marked improvement in kind of keeping that strikeout rate down. The 304 average, I think that would be the number one spot. I'd really see him maybe coming down a little bit is in terms of batting average. But I think there's a legit skill change here. He's always been one to make very good contact. He's still only 24 years old. Yeah, he's 89th percentile in expected WOBA, actually 87th percentile in expected batting average. So maybe that isn't going to come down. And he went from being, like one of the worst in strikeout chase and whiff rates to, middle of the pack, 35th percentile type deal. And with his quality of contact, I think it's good. And I think this season, if anything, does so much for his confidence going forward that he can look back and say, hey, I am capable of performing like that. So yeah, I would keep him if I'm Mario. But so you're looking for that leaves me to take one pitcher, and you have to take between Julio Urias, Zach Gallen, and Kershaw. It's a tough. I'd probably go Urias, but that's a tough one.
Respect for Jose Barrios. You really don't like him.
I think Jose Barrios. I think he's replaceable. And I've said the same thing going back for years now. I mean, he's a 3.5 to 4 ERA guy. If it looks like a Jose Barrios and it pitches like a Jose Barrios, it's a Jose Barrios, and I can find somebody else that gives me those numbers, or 2 or 3 guys that give me those numbers.
Oh, Sean.
And he's in Toronto. I get it. It's not good. I don't like it.
All right. Fair enough. I don't think it's that big of a problem to keep him around. I know that there's something lacking with him, but it's hard to argue with the results. I mean, a 4.22 strikeout per walk, which is a stat that we keep track of, that's second on this team in terms of starting pitchers. Well, third if you count Clayton Kershaw. The whip is really low. He keeps the ball in the ballpark despite going to his new ballpark.
He's given up 4 home runs since being traded to Toronto, and that's over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 starts. But I mean, even those starts, he hasn't faced really that good of teams. Kansas City, the Angels rocked him. Washington put up some runs on him. White Sox, he only lasted 3 innings. That was his really bad start. And then Detroit was his best start so far. Like I said, I'm not sold on Jose Barrios.
But that's what you want, though. You want these good pitchers to beat up on the soft teams. I mean,
I also want a pitcher that is not going to be, an inherent no pick against even a middle of the road offense like Los Angeles.
The Angels? You just can't even stay healthy.
Yeah, but you're giving up 6 earned runs and 8 hits in less than 5 innings to the likes of Jack Mayfield and the half body of Juan Lagares. Like, yeah, Shohei Ohtani's in the lineup. Okay, cool. But come on, let's not act like that lineup is the best thing ever.
All right, let's do equal time here. 7 starts since July 30th. That was a trade deadline. Of those 7 starts, he's had 4 quality starts. That puts him tied for first on this team with Zach Greinke. All right, that's number 1. He has 3 wins, which is only 1 less than Julio Urias, who you would keep on this team. 5.38 strikeout per walk ratio, which puts him at number 1 among the starters on this team. And then 5.38 walk per strikeout ratio, that's pretty damn good, no matter what you spin it or whatever. 3.79 ERA, that's below 4. That's what you're looking for at this time.
I'm just saying, it's a 3.8 ERA for, like, he's a high 3s, low 4s ERA pitcher who we always hype up as like this guy who's about to break out. He's been in the league for almost 5 years now. He is what he is.
Hey, well, hold on now. What we always talk about on this podcast, sometimes older is better among starting pitchers. Like, I don't know, Zach Greinke, I just mentioned, Clayton Kershaw, who seems to be relevant after all these years, after he's been done for about 4 years now. The whip has been a problem for Jose Berrios since July 30th, but you mentioned the home runs. He's actually improved since moving over to the AL East at 0.95, so he's below 1 now. The on-base percentage against, which is another category we keep track of, is a little bit high, but I think these are things that can be improved and worked on. I mean, Shane McClanahan's also on this team.
Yeah, that's the guy I'd pick McClanahan over Barrios.
Well, he pretty much has the same ratios that Jose Berrios has.
I'm going with the higher upside of McClanahan.
I mean, is it really higher upside when he's with the Tampa Bay Rays and we don't know if he's going to be on the bullpen or starting?
Oh, he's going to be starting. Have you seen? I've actually
6 or 7 days, and in the league, I
have been shocked they have let him go as far as they have.
Well, Sean, in a head-to-head league, and you are expecting Shane McClanahan to at least get one of these days 2 starts on a given week, McClanahan's not going to give it to you because we don't know what the Rays are up to. Are they going 6-man rotation, 7-man rotation, 8-man rotation, bullpen game? I know this because I have him in my head-to-head points league, and I never get any 2 starts out of him, ever. I only have him because he's so damn good. But anyway,
thank you.
I mean, he's good, but I mean, unfortunately, the matchups are not good. He has to face the Red Sox twice. Faced them last week and facing him again next week. This upcoming week. That's
yes, forward. And Barrios' next 2 matchups gets to face the Yankees and Toronto. Or not Toronto, Tampa. He's on Toronto, so we'll see how he looks after those 2 weeks.
Is that 2 starts though? Is that 2 starts for Jose Berrios?
I don't know. 9th and the 14th, so no.
9th and the 14th.
Yeah, that's Thursday and then next Tuesday.
Okay. Well, hey, next Tuesday there's a chance that he will be in 2 starts, which is more than you can say about Shane McClanahan. So take it for what it's worth. Next on the team is Jacob's team, the Wilponzis. Jacob is our friend over at the, what's the name of that podcast? The Step Back over
there.
There
you go.
Life podcast. And we were giving him some the business earlier on the private chat for the league, saying that even Sean and I wouldn't be able to know how to improve his ball club. And he said, don't worry, I'll be back next year. And I kind of had to bite my lip from laughing. So, but
hey,
I don't know,
think
man.
He's got a nice little core to keep.
I'm sorry, too many Mets players.
Yeah, it is too many Mets players, but it's also very easy to look at this, and I think it's the easiest of the 6 keepers to make.
By the way, Jacob's team also beating a playoff contender and Henry 16-5. So all these loser teams, these loser ass teams, finally showing up.
they're giving us the work
on the last day of business. They're gonna go ahead and make their last stand here. This is the way they're gonna make it. So let's look at some of the potential keepers. Again, Jacob will be fighting for the number 1 spot next year among the other 2 teams we talked about, Mario and Jet. So keepers, let's just go through it really quick. I'll go with my 6, and then you can take over with your 6. I got Pete Alonso, I guess Manny Machado, Bryce Harper, Jesse Winker. I mean, that's how I would do it. I don't know about him or you. Zach Wheeler, I guess you got to have him around for next year. Oh, wow.
And Acuna's on the IL, so he would have to keep him as well.
Oh, there you go. There's my 6. Acuna's my 6. And by the way, Jacob, for the umpteenth time, you still have 4 roster spots available, just like all the other times we talked about your team. You still actually you had 3 last time. Now you're up at 4. Why aren't you transactioning?
Why aren't you transactioning? No, my keepers are pretty much right in line with yours. Alonso, I want to say Manny Machado, and he's just like having the quietest Manny Machado season ever.
Yeah.
I'm actually, the older Machado gets, the more I'm actually kind of buying. The strikeouts seem to be coming down. The walks are kind of going up, but yeah, it's definitely Alonso, Machado, Harper, Winker, Acuna. That's what, 5, and then Wheeler's would be your 6th as a pitcher. You could make an argument for keeping Marcus Stroman, and if that's the case, you're basically picking between Manny Machado and Marcus Stroman. I think I would keep Machado just because you don't know where Stroman's going to end up as a free agent. If he goes to a hitter-friendly park or a hitter-friendly division, then Machado's definitely the way to go here. But who you would still pick Machado over Stroman?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I don't believe in Stroman. I mean,
I do think he is overperforming this year. His expected ERA is like a 1.5 higher than his actual ERA. So, but I think that's depending on where you feel like pitching is going to be next year. I think you at least have to look at it because he is a guy who this year has had a solid season.
Of course, and again, he's 30 years old, which again, that's no knock on him. That just means that he's more seasoned and more experienced. And again, older is always better with starting pitchers nowadays. It seems like. I mean, Zach Wheeler's 31, and I guess that extra age that extra age advantage for Zach Wheeler pays dividends for him at this point, which is weird to say and say out loud because all this whole time we've been, trained that no, younger is better, and that's not the case for all the positions. But Machado, the fact that he can give you home runs and a little bit of stolen bases still at this stage of his career, not crazy about the 346 on base, which is respectable. But for a guy like Manny Machado, you want more from him compared to Bryce Harper, who has a 414 on base percentage.
Yeah, I think Machado is you're never going to get, the high on base. Like he had a 370 last year in the shortened season, and that was a career high. 2018 when he was traded, he had a 367, and that was of course in a contract walk year.
Right.
But he's always had you look at the walk rates and they've consistently gone up over his career. Mm-hmm. But you're drafting Manny Machado for home runs and RBIs, not because of his on base and his run skills. I think that's just the piece you have to make with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But I mean, this is an on-base league, and I'm sure there's other people in on-base leagues. I know we're not the only ones playing on-base leagues, but that's a trade-off, right? You get the counting stats, but the rate stats are going to suffer. He's not going to hit 300, despite the fact that he does have that profile. He's just that kind of guy. But I mean, you kind of need him compared to Marcus Stroman. No knock on Marcus Stroman. Yeah. I just can't. Compared to Manny Machado, Machado's a little bit more predictable for next year than Marcus Stroman, because I don't know what to expect out of Marcus Stroman for next year. I don't know if this is going to be the new norm for Stroman. We've seen the peaks and the lows with him throughout his career. I just don't know what to make of him to this day. And like you said, we don't know where he's pitching next season either. Wait, I thought he signed an extension. He didn't sign an extension with the Mets?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Must be thinking about the qualifying offer.
Yeah, that was the qualifying. If you look at third baseman ranked by OBP, your top five are a really weird collection of names. Austin Riley's number 1 at 377. Yohan Moncada's number 2 at 374, and that's buoyed by a 13%, almost 14% walk rate. Justin Turner at 372. Yandy Diaz, my boy, is at 360 at 4. And Heimer Candelario is at 354 fifth. Manny Machado basically has the same on-base percentage as Rafael Devers and Jose Ramirez. So, except Jose Ramirez just gives you, I mean, he is having quietly a top 3 fantasy pick, and nobody's talking about him because it's Cleveland.
Well, that's interesting. Well, that kind of changes my perspective on things. Although I don't know if I want to pencil Justin Turner.
Yeah, I mean the guys beneath Manny Machado at third base in terms of OBP. Ryan McMahon 326, Matt Chapman 322, Nolan Arenado at 314.
Because he's out of Coors Field now. What a bum! I was going to mention, I don't know if I want to pencil in Justin Turner as my number 2 third baseman for next season quite yet. So I'm going to hold off on that.
I almost made a last second midnight trade in my 30-team dynasty for Justin Turner, but me and the guy just couldn't work it out. So,
well, I made a trade. I made a one last ditch effort trade on my points league and my keeper league, just because I felt like I had to do something. So I traded away Yu Darvish for Carlos Carrasco. We exchanged. I got higher draft picks out of the deal though, and I had to give up my two last round picks. So 15th and 16th overall went to the other guy, and I got his 8th and 10th round picks. But yeah, and then the next game, Yu Darvish posts a -2 points. Like, all right, well, maybe it was good that I traded him. I don't know.
Yeah,
what's wrong with Yu Darvish, by the way?
I traded. I think he's ever since the Spider Tech stuff. He actually has. If you trace it back to the end of May when they announced, or end of May, beginning of June when they announced that they were going to start checking. It's been going down. I traded for I on the other hand traded for Yu Darvish. But that was earlier in the season. I traded for both Yu Darvish and Tyler Molly, whatever. Yeah. I traded Lodolo 2 first-round picks, Bailey Ober, because I'm going for him. You know, I'm 19-1, about to be 20-1, and I have to go up against the stack team. So need all the pitchers I could ever get. And Yu Darvish has given me like one good start since I got him, and that was in Arizona. Yeah. And all the rest have just been really struggle fest.
Interesting. So the guy who was cheated on in 2017 and struggled to get back into the groove of things may have seen that he too was going to get caught cheating.
Oh, how the tables turn.
Oh my God. Well, it's like I always tell people on the Baseball Life baseball group, everybody cheats. It just, the only difference is the guys who get caught and the guys who don't get caught. So.
Yep.
And we just, anyway, that's a different topic for a different day. Our next team is Comeback Season. Comeback Season with Matthew Whelan, formerly our personal chef here in the group. I guess he still has a shot at the playoffs, but he needs me to defeat. Actually, Jacob too. I forgot to mention that he too has a chance for the playoffs as well. But if he doesn't get those 4 extra roster spots taken care of, I'm gonna just assume that he doesn't want to win and that he will not make the playoffs. But Whelan does have a chance, and I'm taking care of my guy, my opponent this week, James, beating the crap out of him 17-4. And Matthew is down 11-10 to Andrew's team.
So if they both lose, who goes in?
Then James goes in.
Okay, gotcha. Oh yeah, because James is the one ahead.
Yeah. So it's a must win for both parties. But yeah, if James loses and Matthew wins this week, which he still has a 50-50 chance, maybe a 45% chance of winning, things are going to get interesting for us as commissioners. But let's take a look at Whelan's team, who he has Buster Posey. But I got to ask you, do you keep a 35-year-old catcher for next season?
Looking at his roster, he probably because the keepers I'm looking at here, you go to Grom Bueller just to start, and then you keep Wander Franco's 3, Freddie Freeman 4, and then Buster Posey, Starling Marte. I mean, Starling Marte is going to be what, 33, 34 on opening day next year. 33. So in terms, 33. In terms of age, you got to have that argument there. Do you keep Tim Anderson? Tim Anderson's a guy that with 6 keepers in a 12-team, in a 12-team league, you probably keep Tim Anderson.
Yeah.
JD Martinez. What do you do with JD Martinez?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's Buster Posey. It's he has a lot of older guys on the hitting side that if you're going to make the argument, I can't keep Buster Posey because he's a 35-year-old catcher, even though with DH likely coming to the National League, then I mean, because offensively he's had a season just as good as JD Martinez.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up in the air for that last spot. So
you would keep DeGrom, Bueller, JD Martinez, you said?
No, Bueller, DeGrom, Freeman, Franco, Marte, and Tim Anderson.
Oh boy. Yeah, I guess I would go the same with Bueller, DeGrom, Freeman. You have to keep. I guess you have to keep Wander Franco.
You know, I don't even feel great about keeping Starling Marte because I think this is his career year. This is going to be the last, he might give you a 2020 season next year, but I'm not expecting 45 stolen bases again.
Man, it is hard to bypass on those stolen bases.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's why I would keep him.
I think I would do Starling Marte and then I guess Tim Anderson by default. Not very thrilled about this team either, like you said. But he does have guys. He does have veterans on that team that can help him win right now. And if he could supplement those players with better younger up and comers like Wander Franco and others just like him, this might be a real threatening team. But again, I mean, we were all excited about his starting pitching being and that's pretty much the only reason he's still in the playoff hunt is because his starting pitching has been kind of keeping him above water. But then the Grom gets hurt. Kyle Hendricks.
Nelson Lamet never really got going.
Kyle Hendricks with a 1.36 whip. That's why I chose Kevin Gausman over Hendricks. But whatever. It's at this point. But he still has a chance, and that brings us to our next team, which is James Handleboat's team. He has a Twitch. I forgot the name of the Twitch account that he has, but he basically plays those quirky platform games. The other day I saw him. He was playing Pokemon, which is it was a hack and slash version of Pokemon. Which, by the way, crap, I forgot to tag those guys and the thing. But I am beating the crap out of him 17-4. I don't intend on losing this week. I don't care that he needs me to take it easy on him. No, I am here to set my supreme dominance over all of these teams. And if I have to face him next week, this is his foreshadowing
of what's to come.
What's to come in our first playoff matchup. And it's going to be more like this. I'm just going to keep pounding and pounding and pounding that ass. So, but
we just went from PG to PG-13. Sorry, and NSRB.
I'm going to do, I probably should stop. because then I get canceled, and I don't want that. So James has an interesting team. Obviously, he's been up and down all season long, and I always feel bad for his team because it looks him. I think even Andrew, they have all the players that I have in my points league, so I kind of sympathize towards them because my struggle is their struggle too with some of these players, and I'm going to tell you some of these players that him and I have in common. Christian Yelich, we have Michael Conforto. Who else is on this team? I got Julio Rodriguez, but in our minor league slots. What about his pitchers? No, not many. No. Well, I did have Noah Syndergaard and Chris Paddock last year, but anyway. But yeah, it's a lot of injuries on this team. But in terms of 6 keepers, who would you select out of this club?
Oh, this is a tough one because it's one of those you look at the pitchers and you feel like you need to keep one. Yeah. But the only one that I really would feel comfortable picking is maybe Max Fried. And I think you can just draft him later. And so I would go all in on my hitters. For him, though, it's Christian Yelich down year. Mookie Betts has been good, but he hasn't been Mookie Betts of 2-3 years ago. Michael Conforto just now kind of figuring it out after being lost all season. So probably go Christian Yelich, Mookie Betts, obviously 1-2. Xander Bogaerts has had an awesome year, 3. And then you got to pick 3 more between Joey Gallo and his Mendoza line batting average. He's officially fallen beneath the Mendoza line, which is kind of sad. Do you keep Adam Frazier? No, because he's been terrible since the trade deadline. Do you keep Brendan Crawford, who's had a career year and will be back in San Francisco? No. Then you have 3 guys, and Paul Goldschmidt's a 4.
I guess.
Or no, that was 3. Goldschmidt, Yelich, and Betts. I have no clue what direction he goes in with the other 3. Maybe Max Fried and I don't know. I don't know. It's tough.
No,
I feel like you have to keep Joey Gallo, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess you go that route, and I guess I'll name mine 6 now. I guess you got it. I mean, this is a very thin team, but it was full of veterans who were supposed to be steady for him, and they just were not steady. But yeah, I guess. I
mean, if you had told me that James's team, Paul Goldschmidt, would be doing better than Christian Yelich and Mookie Betts, I would have called you crazy.
Yeah, that does sound insane, but here we are. Goldschmidt, Christian Yelich, you got to keep. Mookie Betts, you got to keep. I think you still got to give Michael Conforto another chance at this and hope for the bounce back year next year. Although the thing I don't like about that is that both Betts and Conforto are right fielders. I don't know where else Mookie Betts qualifies in terms of
Mookie this year has second, center, and right.
Yeah, but has he played 10 games? Because we're gonna go revert back to the 10-game minimum for next year.
He's played. Yeah, he's gonna. Okay, at that point, he won't qualify for second, but he'll qualify for center field because he's already played 26.
Okay, so that's not as bad then. Okay, never mind. Xander Bogaerts is my 5th guy, and
Joey Gallo.
I'm a big Joey Gallo fan.
Yeah, because none of the starters look like, unless you really, really like Luis Garcia, who has had an awesome year and came out of nowhere, but you could probably draft Luis Garcia.
So yeah, there you go. Gallo's the 6th guy, and then just redo my whole pitching for next season and go from there. But in the meantime, you will get annihilated by Felipe's team next week. So I'm sorry. Next man, and it sucks for him because he could have avoided me, but then he would have had to face your team in the first week of the playoffs. Yeah. But Big Dinger Energy, that's Andrew's team, our favorite Irish Mets fan of all time. Where is he? How's he doing this week? Big thing. Oh, okay. So he's beating Whelan right now, as I mentioned, 12-10 now. So it was 11-10. Now it's 12-10 in favor of Big Dinger Energy, Andrew's team. So he is helping his fellow Mets fan James, eliminate Matthew Whelan from playoff contention. And if we take a look at Andrew's team, do you have it up there? Can you give me the 6 keepers?
Yes. I'm gonna go Matt Olsen, Ketel Marte, Alex Bregman. Oof. We got to look at his pictures. Oh gosh, that's where it gets really hard. Sandy Alcantara, I keep. Maybe think about keeping Luis Castillo. Oof. And that brings us to 5, and I need have to pick between Arenado, Bichette, and Randall Grichuk. No, Lourdes Gurriel. Austin Meadows and his 94 RBIs. Franmil Reyes probably would be the move there for me. But yeah, Anthony Rendon's on his IL. You could always keep him. It's really, it all depends on if you pick two starters here, which to me, if you're going to keep two, has to be Alcantara and Castillo.
Yeah.
But if you only keep one of those two, then you get a little bit more wiggle room on the offensive side.
I still believe in Castillo. I think that's my slam dunk pitcher, and that's the only pitcher I'm getting. I know that he also has Nate Pearson and which, by the way, we have to change the minor league rules for next year, so that might affect the way this team will look for next year, depending on how we change it, because we have to do something. Because we'll talk off the air, but this planting a little seed for everybody to think about as to how we're going to change the minor league rules for next year, as it just became too what's the word I'm looking for? It became too much for us to keep track of, which kind of, for me, defeats the purpose of going through a more automated process. I mean, if we're still getting involved, then there's really no point to keep all these restrictions, but we'll talk off the air more about that. Anthony Rendon, I guess you got to keep.
I mean, I didn't pick Nolan Arenado, but
yeah,
I think you could see, because even in the down year, he's going to have like 30 to 35 home runs, 100 RBIs, and that's valuable.
Yeah,
it's just, I think I would rather have Bichette in the stolen bases, or, just I don't know. I think I'd pick Bichette.
I honestly think Anthony Rendon is a better not all around, because I know Arenado is better but offensively all around, I guess is the term I'm looking for. Rendon in my book is offensively more skill and all around better than Nolan Arenado offensively.
Yeah, my worries with Rendon are that hip has been, and usually hip injuries they don't age well.
No,
it's
and
you fix it and it gets hurt again, and you fix it and it gets hurt again, and it's
for sure. And then he's had a slew of injuries, but I mean, either that or you get stuck with Nolan Arenado's .313 on base percentage again, and in an on base percentage league, I don't think so. Who's the other guy? Alex Bregman, you got to keep. Bo Bichette, I'm a big homer for Bo Bichette. So
Matt Olson and Ketel Marte are easy keeps too, I think.
Oh, well, that's the thing, right? Like I said, Andrew also has a lot of my players. He has Matt Olson. These are players that I have in my head-to-head points league that disappointed me this year majorly. Matt Olson, Ketel Marte, Bo Bichette. Who else does he have? I had Tommy Pham for a while. He has Tommy Pham. So it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny that he pretty much has all the same, a lot of the same players that are disappointing him, just like they're disappointing me. So I left that with Bichette. I guess Matt Olson, just because I'm impressed by the power numbers. I think that's 5.
I think the biggest thing with Matt Olson is the fact that he's just completely cut down the strikeouts. I mean, he's now 70 walks to 91 strikeouts, when in the short season alone last year in 60 games, he struck out 77 times. In 131 games this year, he's only struck out 91 times. And he's kept the power. 32 home runs, 89 RBIs. Yeah, it's awesome. And
+3 on the stolen base net. So
there you go.
And the last guy, Ketel Marte, and hope that he stays healthy next year. With the hamstrings injuries become just a thing of 2021. I know he's going to be 28, so the speed isn't what it used to be in terms of the stolen base. He only has +1 stolen base net, but the on base percentage is what impresses me at 391. I think he could do that again next year.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my route for Andrew's club.
Do you think he gets traded? And just real baseball talk, you think?
I think so. I think so.
I can see him going to like the Yankees or something crazy.
Oh, hey, all right.
Like a big package, and then they put Ketel Marte in center field, and he sucks in center field, and they're like, oh, well, we got to move him to second base, and then it's like a big drama thing. Yeah, I could see it.
Well, wherever he goes, man, I believe in him. I think some of the skill set, no matter what ballpark he's playing in, I think that travels well anywhere. Moving on. Speaking of Yankees, our resident Yankee fan, one of our we only have 2 resident Yankee fans.
Yeah.
Henry, our fearless leader of the life groups here, he does his own baseball podcast, Dong City, and now he has to make a choice. Now he's gonna make the playoffs. It looks like he's the number 6 seed as of right now, but let's see, he's getting his ass kicked as well by Jacob's team, the Mets fan. So that has to be very satisfying for Jacob. Finish the year with a big splash. But Henry is on that playoff hunt. He's trying to move up the seeding, trying to get well, he's not gonna get a home. He's not gonna get a home field, but yeah, it's anyway. He's trying to move up to number 5, I guess, at this point, and that's assuming that the Cardinal fan, Mike, who we're gonna talk about next, loses his game. But Henry's team. Now we got to figure out his 6 keepers, and there's a lot of pieces, a lot of waiver wire pieces just to keep him afloat.
But they've been good ones, and well, honestly, he might have a keeper that I gave him.
Well, I was gonna say he looks very similar to what Jet was doing, was just pick up a bunch of waiver wire guys that were on fire, and that's how he's been kind of staying afloat and in the hunt for these playoffs, because he was in really bad shape for most of the beginning of the year. But here are the 6 keepers I would do. Carlos Correa, that's one. You got to go with Francisco Lindor. I think you're pot committed to him, and knowing Henry and the Puerto Rican connection with Correa.
Oh yeah, Lindor's staying with Henry.
Yeah, Henry's also Puerto Rican. Giancarlo Stanton for the Yankee bias there, and then wow, the cover runs dry. I mean,
you don't pick Cedric Mullins?
I was going to ask you, do we keep Cedric Mullins?
I think you have to.
Well, let me look at the pitchers really quick, but I doubt that he has 3 viable pitchers and he doesn't. Maybe Trevor Bauer was the guy, but no.
Do you keep Jack Flaherty?
I think so, because I know
he's going to keep Trevor Rogers, because that was I had to cut Trevor Rogers. When Sale was coming off the IL, Rogers missed the entire month of August with COVID, and then he was on the bereavement list, and then he went back on COVID. It was crazy, and he was just taking up a roster spot, and I couldn't start him. And so I made the dumb decision and dropped 23-year-old Trevor Rogers, knowing I probably wouldn't likely be able to keep him anyway. So I think that's an easy keep for Henry. When I saw Rogers got picked up, I'm glad I went to Henry, because that's going to be one of his keepers.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. I have Trevor Rogers on my team. I'm not quite sold on him, especially since he missed a lot of time for mysterious reasons. It was never explained why he had to miss over a month of baseball. And that you got to keep that in mind, that next year he's starting over, because he has to build up the arm strength again, has to eat up all those.
Yeah, it said Rogers has missed all of September due to a family emergency, and he was consequently limited to 83 pitches in his return to big league action, which was September 4th, and he went 4 1/3, gave up 2 runs on a home run, 3 strikeouts. I just think his stuff is so good, and then in that ballpark, I really buy into the home run limiting, which he has. It's like a 0.49 home run per 9 or something crazy. So yeah, I think in a keeper league, you got to keep him.
Unfortunately, knowing Henry, he's going to want to win. I don't think he's going to want to have the pay. I mean, this is like the guy who wanted to keep Sixto Sanchez and Nate Pearson, but as minor leaguers, not as keepers. And he obviously didn't believe him enough. I mean, and for a good reason. He didn't believe in them enough to help him win this year. I don't know why he would go after Trevor Rogers for next year, seeing that he's gonna have to start all over again in development.
I don't think it's all over. He's thrown 115 innings this year.
I know,
and that's a lot. And that was on top of in 2020 he threw 28 innings. So I mean, it was definitely a jump, but I don't think it's a reset. I think so. He throws 125, 130 innings this year, and then he's good for 170, 160 next year.
I don't know. You know how I feel about those things. It's not always linear. I think he only has 3 more starts to show that he's not affected by the entire month missing in action, and that his arm strength is back where it was before he got hurt. And then before he left for the family reasons. And even before the family reasons, he was already kind of hitting that rookie wall a little bit. So is that what you want out of your lineup for next year is what I'm asking. And knowing Henry, I don't think he wants that.
I don't know who you would keep ahead of him.
Right. So I think Jack Flaherty is staying on this team. So that's 4 right there. Those are 4. And just to recap, it's Carlos Correa, Lindor. Who's my other guy? Giancarlo Stanton. I guess you got to keep Cedric Mullins because he has nobody else. Jack Flaherty, because I know Henry loves Jack Flaherty.
And so you got one more. And I think you picked Trevor Rogers. If you compare it to maybe Rodon, but Rodon's had a great year, but I'm really skeptical.
Well, that's the same issue. It's like he still has to build up his arm. Rodon has to build up his arm strength. And when he's never proven that he could stay healthy for an entirety of the year, this year not included, despite the fact that he has a major bounce back here, I don't think he wants that. I think Henry goes with Sonny Gray because it's a safer pick. So I think,
not after Sonny Gray's time in New York.
well, I mean, but then why did he have him along with and this year with the Reds? I mean, the Reds is also a pitching ballpark, a hitter's ballpark, and he's on.
He's got a near 4 ERA. Trevor Rogers at 2.5. Rodon's at 2.5. Like I said, I think Trevor Rogers, especially in a keeper league where we're going to be able to expand our keepers going next year as well. Yeah, I think Trevor Rogers at being 23 years old is the easy one compared to Sonny Gray's 31 or Carlos Rodon's very old 28, just with all the injuries. Like I said, I think it comes down to those three guys. And to me, I think Trevor Rogers offers the best going forward.
I will see. I got Flaherty and Gray as the pitchers. You have Rogers and who else? Flaherty as well?
Yes.
And the other hitters that we mentioned, Correa, Lindor, Mullins, and Stanton.
I was actually leaning towards possibly not doing Stanton and picking another pitcher. And maybe you do keep Rodon and try and cross your fingers. But yeah, definitely Correa, Lindor, and Mullins offensively. Yeah. And then Rogers, Flaherty, and maybe Rodon. And that would be 6.
All righty. Next team up is the Cardinals fan, Mike from Eastern Washington with Molina, Applebaum, and he too is getting his ass whipped by you, Mad Dog Madrigal, 16-5. So if this stays intact, he is not moving up. Well, he wasn't going to move up the standings anyway. But if Henry loses, then everything stays copacetic. Molina will stay as the number 5 seed. Henry will stay as the number 6 seed. And well, let's take a look at Team Molina's team. And as I mentioned, Mike is a big Cardinals fan, despite living in Eastern Washington. And let's see, keepers. I got Trey Turner.
I got Trey Turner.
I got Trey
Garrett
Turner.
Cole. Garrett Cole.
Okay. So, wow, he has Garrett. No wonder he's doing better this year than the last year. Garrett Cole. Oh, geez.
It bottoms off real fast.
How is this team winning? How is this team winning? All right. Let's take this serious.
Ozzy Albies.
Yeah, you got to keep Ozzy Albies. That's 3 right there. Jesus Christ.
With Merrifield?
No.
Just for stolen bases?
Oh God.
He has 35.
All right. Let me think about this.
I don't know why this team's so funny, but it's like it's got elite guys, and then it just seems to drop off.
Do we keep Yu Darvish after all the things we said about Yu Darvish?
Oh God!
What about Hyunjin Ryu?
I honestly, I don't know.
All right,
I do not know.
We got Trey Turner.
I think Ryu. I think Ryu is probably your best bet for innings. And if it's Ryu versus Darvish, Darvish is going to give you more Ks. Ryu might help you more in ratio. I don't know.
All right, let's start over. Okay, so I got Trey Turner. I guess we'll do we'll do a balance thing. Whit Merrifield, so we can move this along. Trey Turner, Whit Merrifield, Ozzy Albies, Garrett Cole, Yu Darvish, and Hyunjin Ryu. There's your balance: 3 starting pitchers and 3 infielders.
So not near as bad as what it kind of looks like when.
Oh no, it's very bad. It's very bad. It's very bad, and I mean it's for the same reasons that you talked about Jose Barrios. Hyunjin Ryu, although he does fend for himself pretty well in the AL East, it's still the AL East, and right now all the numbers that he's posting right now, the 1.172 whip and the 3.67 strikeout per walk ratio, those might be fluky, those might be real. I know he's a really good pitcher. I know I like him a lot. I don't know if I want to keep playing that game with Hyunjin Ryu. Yu Darvish, you just mentioned that there's a little bit of suspicious things going on with Yu Darvish, trying to make up for lost time with him. And Garrett Cole is basically the main reason why Molina was a championship contender for most of the year this year. So,
yeah, Ryu, like I said, I think you have to keep Whit Merrifield just for the stolen bases. I don't want to keep Whit Merrifield if I were him. Mitch Haniger having a 30 home run plus season is also a possibility. Yeah. He could maybe try and keep Dylan Carlson and hope that he improves. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of ways to go here, but it's basically Trey Turner, Garrett Cole, and then Ozzy Albies and dart shooting after that.
Yeah, pretty much.
So basically you either go for Whit Merrifield and his advanced age and steals, Mitch Haniger and his 30 plus home runs, even though he's going to be 31 next year. Mm-hmm. Luke Voit, if you think he's actually going to get playing time. I don't know. Kevin Biggio had a down year. Do you believe that he's a 2020 guy? And
no, I don't believe in him. You know my
It's
feelings about
tough.
Kevon.
It's tough. I mean, I think Reyes obviously the second pitcher, and then Darvish maybe the third.
All right, let's move on to Smoking Aces, which is Leon's team. That's Leon is the other co-host of the Step Back Basketball Podcast over at the Basketball Life Facebook group. Sorry, too many sports to mention here. I'm also trying to tag him so he on time so he knows we're talking about his team. He is currently losing to, we just mentioned, to Jets team. It's now 12-9 in favor of Jet, who's in dead last in the standings. Smoking Aces, Leon's team, is he's trying to move up the standings and see if he can leapfrog Aaron's team, the defending back-to-back champion. But it looks like no matter what, he's going to get a home field advantage in these playoffs for at least the first round against Mike Harvey's team. So let's take a look and see whose team we like better for the next round. But in the meantime, the 6 prospective keepers for him. I got Jose Altuve. Jeez, it's the same freaking. How are these teams so good? How are they so good?
I mean, this one, he's been really carried. You look at guys like Marcus Semien and Tyler O'Neill, who Marcus Semien has led all players in all of Major League Baseball in Fangraphs WAR since 2019.
Well, okay, I guess that explains it. All right, Max Scherzer, Shane Bieber, those are 3 right there, along with Jose Altuve.
Shane Bieber could be huge for him if Shane Bieber can make some starts in September and he can get him back for his playoff run. Could be huge, but
yeah, I know that's pretty much how he. That's one of the things that helped him in a fantasy basketball league is that he had a bunch of injured players that came back just in time for the playoffs, and he was able to defeat me on for the championship game. So that I have a championship banner. I owe him a championship banner, so it's coming. So
the most interesting player on this roster in terms of do you keep Cody Bellinger?
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about him.
I think that is the elephant-sized, swing in the room is what do you do with Cody Bellinger? Because this is 2 years now. This isn't just 2021. This is going back to 2020, which he had a 789 OPS. The walks and strikeouts actually weren't terrible last year. 30 walks to 42 strikeouts. It just looked like a fluky, bad, short season type deal. But in 2021, he's just been bad. I mean, really, really bad. And there's no way of stating it. He 169, nice, a 556 OPS. He's fallen into a platoon. They're not letting him face lefties anymore.
Yeah.
But you have to think that you've probably invested so much when he was drafted and then kept. So you can't just bail on him, can you?
Sure you can.
And does he have the players on the rest of his roster to justify not keeping? Like, would you keep Dansby Swanson over Cody Bellinger?
No. And that might be just the thing that.
Would you keep Cody Bellinger over Dansby Swanson? Like, would you actually keep him?
I prefer Bellinger over Swanson. I don't believe in Swanson one bit. At least Bellinger has proven that he can be an elite player in this league. Swanson has done nothing but disappoint.
I mean, he's going to have possibly a 30 home run season coming out of shortstop.
Sure, but he's also hitting on base percentage of 312 with a 257 batting average. The stolen base, the chipping in at stolen bases is nice, but the other thing I don't like is the 39 walks versus 133 strikeouts. I mean,
the strikeouts kind of went up a little bit this year, and that started last year as well.
Yeah,
but
I'm not surprised. I mean, that's who. I mean, yeah, you're a first round pick, and you have not played like a first round pick outside of the counting stats. So I don't know.
But in fantasy, the counting stats matter.
Yeah, but if you're in a keeper league, you also got to project to see, is this real?
And he's entering the prime, 28 to 30. That we know that's like that prime of offensive experience plus the end point of the ability.
Why did Chris Bryant get traded away and not even mentioned as a player to keep and continue to struggle the last couple of years? And he was in his prime too. Javier Baez in his prime.
I said I would keep Chris Bryant on that roster, on the one before,
on the other roster. Yeah, but I'm just saying in terms of real life. I mean, I don't know if there's such a thing as a prime. I don't think things are as linear as people think they used to be anymore. And Dansby Swanson, is this something that can transfer over to next year? Why wasn't this something that was transferable when he was 24, 25 years old? What's taking him so long? What is the real the real Dansby Swanson? Please stand up is what I'm asking. Anyway, Marcus Semien, I guess you got to keep him because he's a safe choice with the 30 home runs and he pitches in those stolen bases as well. So I got Altuve, Semien. I guess I got to keep Cody Bellinger just to see if he can bounce back next year and become the superstar we all know he could be. Who did I say? Shane Bieber, Max Scherzer, and our final guy. Boy, oh boy, how is this team so good? I don't get it.
I think you're sleeping on Tyler O'Neill.
There's a reason for that. The Cardinals themselves sleep on Tyler O'Neill.
Well, he's also been hurt a lot this year.
He's been literally use him for a bed in hotel rooms. He's the bed. Tyler O'Neill. That's how much he slept on. All right, final guy, and then you can go and tell me who would be the guy you wouldn't keep. Jesus Christ, there's like nobody I would want on this team. I guess Dansby Swanson by default. I don't know. All right, your turn. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to go in the opposite direction here. I'm going to stay with you on Jose or on Altuve and Simeon, but then I'm going to go Tyler O'Neill just because he's been outrageously good. Pull up his Savant sliders, and it's the stupidest thing you'll ever see. 97th percentile average EV, 90th percentile max EV, 98th percentile or better in hard hit rate and barrel rate. Expected slugging, 96%. Sprint speed, he's fast. He's got literally all the tools. Has had a couple of injuries, but he's come back from all of them and performed well. They actually seem to be giving him, the playing time this year, which they had never done in the past.
For now.
Of course, for now. Now the strikeouts are an issue. He's striking out 32% of the time. Mm-hmm. And it seems to be mainly a breaking ball. He's struggled against the breaking ball, but he's absolutely covered all fastballs. And then he's actually doing pretty well against off speed as well. So it could just be he's not a breaking ball guy, and maybe next year they adjust and they throw him more breaking balls and he bottoms out. But I've always liked Tyler O'Neill. I loved his minor league numbers. I loved all the tools. So he's a definite keeper for me after showing, 845 OPS, 20 plus home runs and 10 steals and just 350 plate appearances or something like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, this got to be the most stable outfield situation for the Cardinals in a very long time, because they usually have one or two or maybe up to three guys that they just you're struggling. All right, next man up. Let's give this other guy a chance.
And then they trade somebody and then they turn out to be an all-star. Like look at Lane Thomas since he's been traded. Randy Rosarena. It's like the list is so long. In terms of patient with certain players and very patient with others, it's ridiculous. And then on the minor leagues, really quick, they don't have the depth that they used to at outfield like in years past. But right now, if you're looking for someone to kind of replace some of those guys that are already up, you got Austin Dean, Justin Williams, who has seen some playing time with the big league club, Lars Nootbaar,
who's listed on the bench right now, and you still got Chase Pinder in Double-A as well. So I mean, they're not big names, but the Cardinals, that's how they are. They don't care about the big names. They don't care about the pedigree. If you can help this team win, they'll take you out and put someone else in just because that's the Cardinal way. So that's another thing I don't trust about the Cardinals and guys like Tyler O'Neill and Harrison Bader and who's the other, Dylan Carlson, as much, because they always come with a lot of hype, these Cardinals outfielders, and then a month in they're already benched.
Yeah,
or they get traded, like you mentioned, like Randall Grichuk gets traded to the Blue Jays or sent to the Blue Jays, and Lane
Tommy Pham.
Oh my God, why? I don't get it.
It seems they just have a very quick trigger with guys. You struggle, you're out of the lineup. And they did the same thing with like Tyler O'Neill his first few seasons. Harrison Bader, they did the same thing. And then they finally, we've gotten to the point in the cycle where they were the guys that got sent down, and now they're the guys that are being called up again for a second time, essentially. But yeah, I'll go.
So Tyler O'Neill, you would keep.
Yeah, okay. Altuve, Simeon, O'Neill, Bellinger.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to keep Bellinger, but I have to.
Yeah.
And then I go with Bieber and I guess Scherzer. I mean, Scherzer's 37 and he's still being successful. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'll go Max Scherzer there.
I mean, Max Scherzer is going to be the reason why the Dodgers are going to repeat this year. It looks like.
Could you see the Yankees possibly signing Max Scherzer to like a 1 year, like $30 million deal or something like that?
Yeah.
I could see it. And then having Garrett Cole at the top of it. Woo.
Yeah. I could see it. That's all you need. That's all you need. And then the Yankees will finally win a World Series for the first time since.
And then you wake up from your dream.
And you wake up from your dream. That's 2009. I know it's 2009. I was just pausing for dramatics. Who's next on the docket here? It is Aaron. Oh, championship rounds. Now we get to the good teams. All these other teams, they suck until proven otherwise. And watch I get
unless they beat us in the playoffs, and then they were awesome.
I don't know, man. Leon's team, I'd be very surprised. Okay. Let's quickly move along these lines because I got a wrestling show to attend to later tonight. And I got to take care of some things before that show starts. So Aaron's team, 25-18. She's playing to get that higher seed to leapfrog you because ain't no way in hell she's gonna leapfrog me. I can tell you that much. But she is dominating. Wait, where the hell? Oh no, she's losing to Mario. My bad. 12-9. You are still beating Mike's team 15-6. So it looks like these standings are gonna stay intact. Looks like Aaron will be facing, if the standings are correct here, Henry in the first round. We saw Henry's team, but let's take a look at Aaron's team, what we like and what we don't like. So Jonathan India, is he a keeper for you?
Jonathan India on her roster.
You want me to keep going?
It's hard because she has such a deep roster that he might just be a casualty of being on too good of a team.
All right, well, we'll circle back to India. I guess you got to keep Jose Abreu if he's going to be producing like this. I mean, that's one of the main reasons she's so damn good this year. Eloy Jimenez, you got to keep him around. So good job on her being patient there. I don't know about George Springer. So
I'm not sure if I would keep Eloy.
You have to.
I think with her roster, I think you could get away with not keeping him.
All right, well, let's move along then. But because I don't know anybody else I would want on this team aside from those guys.
Brian Reynolds.
No, I don't want Brian Reynolds.
Oh my God.
No.
Never gonna learn. You're never gonna learn.
I mean, I'm winning without him.
You are. Okay, you are. Congrats.
So,
do you keep Brian Hayes?
No, absolutely not. I don't want any Pirates on my team if I can help it.
I don't want any Pirates.
All right, so I got
Babe Ruth could suit up, and you'd be like, "Nah, I don't need him."
I'm sorry, who can suit up?
Babe Ruth.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. Well, I mean, it depends what he does with the Pirates, but those guys. I mean, Josh Bell. I never believed in Josh Bell, and I know I drafted him late in one of these drafts one year, and I was so pissed off at him that I just dropped him without any regret. And right now, what has he done for the Nationals? We haven't even mentioned him yet.
Okay, after in 2019, he had that like fantastic, like historic May. If you look at him since May of 2019. I had this running thing that he had actually, up until I haven't checked it in a couple months, he was a below 0 WAR player. He was a negative WAR player since June of 19.
Oh my God!
But granted, he's had a solid-ish year this year. So,
well, how solid?
What's solid I'd have to look it up because
just making things up. Anyway, we'll get to Josh Bell in a little bit here, but I
107 WRC plus. He's finally out of the red. Because he was 77 last year, and he really struggled early this year.
Needs to be higher, man. You tell me he's a premier.
Oh, and he's not. He's not. He's
107. That's not going to cut it.
He's not. I agree.
Aaron has a lot of Pirates prospects in Quinn Priester, Nick Gonzalez.
Nick Gonzalez is raking now.
Richard Rodriguez is on the team, so she loves the Pirates. She has a lot of Pirates players on this team. Why? I mean, I know why, but it's like, I don't know what to make of it. Anyway, pitchers, right? So I got the 2 hitters on my back. Okay, Mike Clevenger. I know she drafted him, and when we said something about it, she said, "Oh, well, this is for next year." So next year's approaching. Is Mike Clevenger a keeper for next year?
No.
Okay, we'll move on.
I was actually looking at the list of people that have had Tommy John twice, at the major league level is not a very pretty list. So in Clevenger at this point will be 31.
Yeah.
So 31, 32. And the stuff usually is pretty diminished after that's usually after, Tommy John number 1, it can sometimes be better, but when they do it the second time, I was reading this article and it doesn't attach when they repair the ligament and attach it back to the bone. When they do it a second time, it's not as strong as it is the first time because there's already they've already done that surgery in the bone. Instead of going into actual bone, it's just scar tissue. So it doesn't hold as well the second time as it does the first.
What a mess. So much promise. Anyway, all right, Brandon Woodruff has to be kept. I guess you got to keep Josh Hader. Do you also keep Devin Williams? Because he's been pretty instrumental for this team's pitching.
Maybe. It's because you keep Devin Williams a reliever or you keep someone like Framber Valdez. I think that's a tough one.
And it really depends on the rule changes for next year because we got to do something about. Aaron Knowles on his team too. So That's another
but
guy.
4.5 ERA this year. I'm sorry, I'm out. I was always I thought he was slightly overrated. I thought he was a good pitcher. I didn't think he was what he was in 2018 when he had the like 2.3 ERA. Because for his career, he's over 3.5 now. So I think he's a good pitcher, but he's not. He's the National League Jose Barrios.
I see your high ERA, and I raise you the 5.31 strikeout per walk ratio.
Yeah, 186, 186 Ks.
Which leads this team, by the way. And the whip is at 1.127. And when I say it leads this team, I mean among starting pitchers. And the 1.127 whip, which is, I guess, second.
And the 1.36 home run per nine, which also leads the team.
Yeah, well, you take the good with the bad, right? I mean, he does pitch. He pitched out of Citizens Bank ballpark. Well, when I gave you the low numbers for Jose Barrios, you were poo-pooing that. Now you're going to bring up the 1.36. All of a sudden, that's bad. I mean, it is bad, but come on. Anyway, okay, so I'm at, I lost count. So I got Brandon Woodruff, I got Josh Hader, I got Aaron Nola, and then
that's
go back
three.
up to the hitters.
Yeah.
Eloy Jimenez, Jose Abreu, that's 5. And just for the sake of time, Jonathan India. That's
you're not going to keep Salvador Perez.
Why would I? Oh no, man!
41 home runs, 100. You were the one trying to tell me that Salvador Perez needed last offseason when we were having the Perez versus Will Smith. You said you need Salvador Perez.
I didn't say you need Salvador. You need to consider Salvador Perez.
But you don't keep him, really. No, I'm shocked. You would rather keep Jonathan India or Eloy Jimenez over Salvador Perez?
I just said that. That's what I'm. If I'm Aaron and I have to pick her 6 keepers, that's who I'm keeping.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I mean, Salvador Perez early. I mean, last year I was like, you got to have Salvador Perez as number 1. Last offseason, that was championing Salvador Perez. This offseason, things change. Rankings aren't the same as last year. See, you're stuck in. You're stuck in.
See, I'm shocked that you would, push for him, and then you don't want to keep him.
I would never keep a catcher. No, they're too inconsistent. Now Perez, I thought he could easily be a top 3 catcher, but
you see, now I'm on the opposite foot here. I would keep Salvador Perez. I would keep my 6 guys. Since we have so many categories, I don't really worry about on base if they can make it up. If they can make it up in 3 other categories. Then I'm willing to overlook a poor on base.
Here's why I don't
in fantasy.
No, well, here's why I don't overlook it in fantasy, because on base percentage, it just opens up for all the You think I'm in there looking at, this is going to hit 20 doubles, so I got to draft him. No, I don't do that. I'm looking at the big categories, which is on base percentage and, the other big ones, the other statistics that kind of should translate to production and those other single stats like, WRC plus, WOVA, ops plus, all those other stats. So a 316 on base percentage, you can get that anywhere at catcher. I understand that the counting stats are important.
You're not going to get the 41 home runs and 100 RBIs.
That was going to be my point. And that the reason why Salvador Perez, I don't care how early you draft Salvador Perez, I really don't. The reason why I don't is because he's going to get all the playing time. I mean, I know 41 home runs isn't a fluke, but it helps a lot when he has 519 at bats. That's ludicrous. He can qualify for the batting title if his batting average ever goes way up there.
Yeah, he's already DH 30 games this year with the Royals, and they traded Jorge Soler. And if you ask me, I think the reason they traded Jorge Soler was to open up more DH at bats for Salvador Perez this year and going forward into next year with MJ Melendez. They're one of their top prospects at catcher. Just hit like his 35th or 36th home run in the minors this year. Absolutely insane. Left-handed catcher with major power, but some swing and miss issues. But I think they're seeing all of this from Salvador Perez, and they're saying, we just got to keep him in the lineup. And you trade Jorge Soler, you put him at DH, and next thing you know, you just let him hit. And I think Salvador Perez is one of those weird players whose WAR could actually be higher as a pure DH than as a position player, just because of how poor his defense usually is, especially when it comes to framing, as we talked last week.
Talk about that last week.
Yeah, and so I could see him being like as a full-time DH, like a 2.5 win player if he hits like this, even with the 316 on base, because that's something that we always know he's not going to do, is get on base.
All right, so I'm sharing my screen here really quick with you. All right, because it seems like you have a problem with listening to me. All right, and you're mixing my analysis from 2020 with 2021. This is my 2020 rankings 2020. catching list, my rankings, right? And we're gonna deal with the catchers. I'm make it a little bit bigger. And
pre-20. This is pre-20, right?
No, this is
Post-20.
pre-2020.
Okay.
So this is before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
We got locked on. So you see that I have Gary Sanchez number 1. That's how much I love Gary Sanchez. Because the power.
And Salvador Perez is basically giving you what Gary Sanchez did, except he's on a batting average train.
Okay, so let me finish here. Salvador Perez was top 5. My thing was, if Salvador Perez is gonna is the 5th catcher, and he's being if he's gonna be drafted as such as the 5th or 6th best catcher, because the drop off after Salvador Perez, you got Wilson Ramos, Mitch Garver, Carson Kelly, Sean Murphy, Will Smith, and this is before Will Smith skyrocketed up these rankings. Salvador Perez is your last guy. Once Salvador Perez is gone, this is pretty much a crapshoot down here, all the way to number 15. That's why I was pushing for Salvador Perez. You can wait for Salvador Perez after Wilson Contreras, Yasmani Grandal, Joey Realmuto, and Gary Sanchez are gone. Wait for Salvador Perez, I says, and unless they're all gone, and you might have to reach for him, but that's fine because he's gonna get all the playing time he can handle, and he's well rested, and he's gonna produce the counting stats that everybody looks for. That's what I was saying, which is the same thing you're saying now in your championship now. But I don't know, a year and a half late after I had said it.
The issue now is you're not going to be able to get Salvador Perez after you see Sanchez, Realmuto, and Grandal go off the board. He will be the number 1 catcher off the board, and you will have to reach for him.
Brings up 2021, and boom, I moved up to number 2. At number 2, now I'm like, I don't know, man. That might be too early for me. I liked him when he was number 5, like Will Smith is at number 5 right here. But at number 2, I guess it's okay. But me personally, I always want to wait on catchers because at number 2, that means a lot of great hitters and a lot of great starting pitchers are going by the board. I am willing to sacrifice catching a little bit at that point. But in 2021, I had Salvador Perez as number 2 for all the same reasons. He's going to produce. He's going to get all the playing time. I don't know if he's going to produce the same as last year, but he's going to produce something because he's going to get all the playing time he can handle.
Yeah.
Which both years it came true. But as a number 2 catcher, meaning that there's the price tag is going to be involved in there, where he's going to be picked a lot earlier than what we're used to, or how I wanted him to get picked earlier than what I'm used to. I don't know about that, but
and that's why you keep him and you avoid having to run into that issue.
I don't know, man. I mean, catchers are catchers.
Okay. So what are you doing? You're keeping George Springer in her lineup, correct?
No, I didn't say George Springer. No.
Okay, I thought you had said Jimenez and Springer.
Because
that's the one I would love to keep, but I just don't trust his body at all.
Who, Jimenez?
Yeah. Oh no, Springer.
Oh, Springer. Yeah, I know. I'm done with Springer. No, yeah, that I am done completely.
He has 16 home runs and only 205 at bats. It's like the most insane thing.
In only 205 at bats. That's the freaking problem.
That's the issue. I know. It's
no, I don't want
the body doesn't want to back him up. So
it adds up though. I mean, he's been one of the most durable players and one of the most hard-headed players. I mean, he'll crash into walls, he'll make those slides, he'll sacrifice his body for that.
I wouldn't say he's been that durable. It's 140 twice, and then he had 162, and then everything else was 140 or less.
I mean, 140 is still a lot of games. Hold on, let me just double check that because I could have sworn it was a lot. But regardless, I mean, okay, fine. So the injuries have already been taking a toll on him already. And
you see, my issue with Springer isn't the total amount of games played. It's always the same injuries. The same, like it's always the legs. It's always that left hamstring, left quad.
Because he plays really hard. He goes all out, and now he's 32 years old. Okay, so yeah, here we go. He played 51 out of 60 games in 2020, 122, which is low in 2019, but 140 and above between 2016 and 2018. I mean,
and only 100 in 2015.
So
102, whatever.
I think those 3 seasons are the reason why you're seeing Springer having an issue getting back into the lineup. But getting back to the rankings that I have here, that's why, I mean, you saw that in my other league, once again, just like in 2020, let me go back to the 2020, where I drafted Salvador Perez number 5 in our league. In 2021, I drafted Will Smith as a 5th catcher in my points league. It's that juicy part at number 5, number 6, number 7 that I wanted. And in this league, who did I get? I got these 2 guys, Gary Sanchez and Sean Murphy, right there. And then Dalton Varsho was my number 12 catcher. And you guys went out and got all the other catchers that I wasn't interested in for this league, and it's worked out.
Who were numb tongue. My catcher situation worked out beautifully, and not one of their names is on your list.
Yeah. So you probably didn't even. Okay. So you waited even longer than I did. I know.
Oh,
you
actually,
did.
okay, actually, I lied. I mean, it's still not bad, but it's not what I have in my other league. I had Will Smith and Omar Narvaez in my other league. This one is okay. He's right outside your top 12. Carson Kelly, and then I had Tyler Stevenson, who's given me a 285 average, 371 on base, 40 RBIs and 295 at bats. He's been really awesome, and I think he's going to hopefully get more and more playing time as the Reds figure out how good Tyler Stevenson actually is.
You're making my argument here why you shouldn't keep why it's not worth keeping Salvador Perez. I mean, you are content with Carson Kelly as the 14th best catcher on my list and Tyler Stevenson, and you can say whatever. Oh, it's just your list. Okay, but many other fantasy experts have it like this as well. Tyler Stevenson's number 31. You waited and you actually played the waiver wire to get your catchers that you needed. I mean, how far better is Aaron with her 2 catchers? Not saying that these are bums or whatever, but it's about if it's a question about value, how much better off is Aaron going very top heavy with her catchers right here, number 2, number 3, hogging up 2 of the top 5 catchers than I am with Gary Sanchez, Sean Murphy, and Dalton Varsho, or you are with Carson Kelly and Tyler Stevenson all the way at the bottom here.
Yeah, I don't think Wilson Contreras is a top 5 catcher, and I've never liked him offensively, honestly. But Salvador Perez himself, if you compare his 41 home runs and 102 RBIs over 519 at bats to my 2 catchers who have combined for 20 home runs and 77 RBIs. Meanwhile, they both have a 370 and a 371 on base, which is what I look for in catchers. Either I get the top 1 or 2, which to me would have been Will Smith or Salvador Perez this year, or I target the guys that just aren't going to hurt me. And that's why I like Stevenson's on base tool. I liked Carson Kelly, even though he struggled coming back from his injury. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I do.
And by the way,
I would keep Salvador Perez. That's too many home runs and RBIs to leave off the board.
She also has Travis d'Arnaud as well. So I think she picked them up late in the year. So, I mean, it's a great catching situation. That's one of the reasons why she's at the top. I mean, even when you say what you say about Wilson Contreras, but he also has a 332 on base percentage, which is, I don't know, man, that's quite remarkable for a catcher. And he plays every day when he's not hurt. So just like, so she cornered the market on those, those cowbell catchers. So, I mean, if that's the route that she wants to go next year, that's fine. But I mean, it's still an on-base percentage league. You got to take advantage of those 6 keepers with guys who are better skilled than Salvador Perez. But if she doesn't believe in any other guys, then so be it.
I mean, I would take both of my catchers over Wilson Contreras.
That's fine. I would love for you to take 2 catchers for next year before the draft starts. That's fine.
No, I'm not keeping either of my guys, but neither of my guys hit 40 home runs and have 100 plus RBIs with a month to go.
Well, there's no guarantee that Perez is going to do it next year.
You're right. You are right. You are right.
Linear.
But we saw what he did in 2020 as well, and that was really good. And I was skeptical. I was skeptical. I was wrong. Yeah, and he's backed it up. He's backed it up this year. Granted, I did say he's not going to bat 333. I said that, and he's back down to 275, but he's still crushing the ball, which is what he showed in 2020. And my doubt and skepticism has been dissuaded a little bit.
All right, then. Well, that's was that your 6 keepers then? You gave me your 6 keepers already?
Perez, Abreu, where's the other one? India. I was going to keep India.
Okay.
And then Woodruff, Hader, and Devin Williams. I'll go the 2 RP route. I'll go the 2 RP, right?
And right now, Aaron or Henry in the next round. Who you pick?
Henry or Aaron?
Yeah, in the next round, because that's a projected matchup.
I think Aaron's gonna have I think her pitching's just better.
Okay. Did you give me a prediction for Leon or Mike's team?
No, I did not. Let me look. That is probably gonna be. I like Mike's team. Leon's had the better season, obviously, but it's gonna be a close one. I'm gonna go with the underdog, and I'm gonna go with Mike.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick Mike as well, just for the underdog aspect of it.
He's got a red hot CJ Cron playing right now. And Cron is a guy who right now you just look at his stats and you're like, what in the world? In August, 387 average, 463 on base, and OPS pushing nearly 1,300. So yeah, if CJ Cron can keep it up, and he's probably going to automatically win steals in that matchup with Trey Turner and Whit Merrifield. He just needs some pitching, and it'll be close. But he's got Garrett Cole, which always helps.
Alrighty, and then I guess I'll go Mike and Aaron for next week. Which brings us up to your team. Do you know what? Just for the sake of time and just for the sake of not sharing our trade secrets, because this is a conflict of interest, I will predict your 6 keepers and you predict my 6 keepers when we talk about my team, and you just stay pat and just zip it. So that way you're not like, well, people already knew who I was going to keep for next year. No, it's a conflict of interest that I'm trying to avoid. So I'm going to go. Your keepers are going to be Nicky Lopez, Lamonte Wade, Brendan Rodgers. I'm joking.
I hate you so much.
Okay. All right. So let's go with Jose Ramirez. He has to be a keeper. Jordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker again, Corey Seager. Oh, wow. That's dangerous right there. Shohei Ohtani, you got to keep him. And Luis Severino. No, I'm joking. One more guy, right? Let's go with. Did I say Jordan Alvarez already?
Yeah.
Trevor Story, I guess, just for consistency's sake.
So I don't get to keep a pitcher?
I don't think you're going to keep a pitcher unless you count Shohei Ohtani.
Okay. Yeah. I do. Okay. That makes sense.
How's that working for you, having Shohei Ohtani?
It's all, when I didn't keep him last year and I felt like I reached to get him in the draft, and this is more of my fun league. This isn't the one that, I'm going to worry about making the money. That's my 30-team league. But this one is my fun team, and I have not had so much fun playing fantasy unless I've had, with Shohei Ohtani this year. Being able to switch him in since we do the bi-weekly, at the beginning of the week, I'll catch his hitting stats, and come the weekend, I get his pitching stats. It's so much fun seeing what he's done, and it's just so unreal, and I'm glad to have him, and I'm glad I reached for him because he made me happy, and that obviously being happy with your fantasy team leads to some success because I'm in second.
Oh, well, that's good. Now you will have Andrew's team to deal with next round as a 7th seed if the standings stay intact. Yeah. What's your prediction on that game?
Andrew has actually beat me, I think, in our last matchup. So a little hesitant. He's got a great offense. I mean, it really is a great offense. I need to win my pitching matchups. Yep. And I've set myself up down the stretch to where I feel really comfortable with my pitchers. Having Chris Sale back, I think, is going to be huge for me. Meanwhile, he basically has to hope that Luis Castillo has a good game and Sandy Alcantara has a good game. I mean, that's it. Corey Kluber, John Means are solid, but I think both of them could blow up at any point in a start. Tanner Hook is going to be big for him, but I hope my pitching carries us through because we both have really good offenses. But I think my pitching might have a slight edge.
So humble, so humbling.
I like he probably has a better offense than I do. Matt Olsen, Ketel Marte, Arenado,
probably.
But
you're predicting yourself to win, right?
Yeah. For sure. So. No, you got to have some sort of bravado,
Yeah. Oh, some sort of, the most minuscule bravado I've ever seen. I think, no offense to you, my podcast partner here, but this is a good chance this could be an upset. Now, of course,
it very well could be.
All the reasons you mentioned, for sure. But I think if his pitching is able to balance out your pitching, and his hitters can play up to the potential that we saw when we reviewed his team, that's an upset waiting to happen right there, I think.
Yeah, like I said, I have to win my pitching matchups. I have to win the pitching stats.
In that regard, I'm going to go ahead and predict Andrew defeats your team by the narrowest of margins because it should be pretty close. But if you're going to have, if this league's going to have any upsets, that would be one of them, along with the 4-5 slot. And let's go here to the last but not least, the best team in the league again. See, all I do is rack up regular season wins, but then in the playoffs, my team just fizzles out. But now if my team fizzles out this year, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself because I think I created a pretty damn good juggernaut to prevent all that shit from happening. But all right, I will stay shut. You tell me who I'm keeping for next year. 6 keepers. Let's go.
Okay, let me pull you up. You're definitely going to keep Gary Sanchez and Dalton Varsho because you love keeping catchers.
Yeah, for sure.
Just kidding. Okay, so let's start over and go for real here. Obviously, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Juan Soto. That's not fair. I think next is going to be Luis Robert, who I traded to you, and that trade is not working out very well for me. So that's 3.
Takes a big person to admit their mistakes there, Sean.
Yes. Your pitching is interesting. I don't think you keep Lucas Giolito after a kind of uneven year and injuries and some ineffectiveness.
Okay.
I do think you keep Kevin Gossman, and I think that's going to be the shocking move for you. And that brings us to 4. So you have 2 people left. You are going to keep Liam Hendricks as an easy save source. That's 5.
Okay.
And then it comes down to Nick Castellanos versus Rafael Devers or Max Muncy. And that's an interesting one because those 3 hitters are all fantastic. And I think you're going to go with Max Muncy.
Okay.
I think he's the better, safer pick. Devers, I think you like, but not enough to pick. And then Nick Castellanos as a pending free agent leaving Cincinnati might see the numbers drop a little bit. And that's why I think you're not going to pick Castellanos. Now, you could pick Devers as a pure age upside pick.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be Muncy.
Interesting.
Plus his versatility too.
Yeah. I mean, he plays everywhere. I mean, I don't know about this year. I don't know if he qualifies.
Now, you could be zagging and totally not keep Hendricks and just pick up saves elsewhere and pick up 2 of those offensive guys and go straight offense with the addition of Kevin Gossman. I think Kevin Gossman's the one guy you keep.
Interesting. Well, we will see. I mean, I have an entire off season to think about it. Can
we just talk about how you having Vlad and Soto isn't fair?
Yeah, you did mention that.
Yeah, it's not fair.
That's why when what's his face? I know my guy Larry talks a lot of crap, and he says, "Oh, Aaron's gonna win again. You'll see. It's the curse of the Cuban. Felipe is going down." And I look at my team and like, bro, I got both Vladdy and Juan Soto. If I go down, then there's something wrong with this league. I'm too big to fail. But it's happened before.
Just a little bit of bravado, right?
I have to. This is the way it is. If I don't do it myself, then who's gonna do it for me? No one else is gonna do it. But no, I mean, this is one of my favorite teams of all time in any fantasy league, in any sport, and it's because you guys were able to give me 2 very young 20-year-olds and Guerrero and Devers in the draft.
So you drafted in the OG draft. You got Soto as your first pick, and then Vlad in like the 3rd round.
I stole him off of you.
Yeah.
Oh wait, who's the other guy?
Vlad.
No, I got him in this year. No one kept Vladimir Guerrero. People gave up on him.
Wow.
I got him in the 1st round. Well, remember, you picked Luis Robert, and I was gonna pick him, but you just wanted to get revenge on me for all the picks that I sniped from you last year. So you took the one guy I was really considering getting with my 1st round pick, and you ended up trading him to me anyway. And if I win, I'll be sure to give you a little bit of a thank you for the 1/20th assist there to help this.
Oh, team. You didn't even get Vlad in the 1st round. You got him in the 2nd round.
So, and Aaron is
wow.
Aaron was right there, and I'm back.
Yeah, she had the turn, and she went Woodruff Maeda. Oh God,
yeah, she went pitching heavy because remember we saw the napkin, and that's what she wanted.
Yeah.
Okay, so good.
We saw the napkin. I forgot about the napkin.
I honestly keep thinking that I got Guerrero in the 1st round, and
you picked Devers. Pick Devers first.
So yeah, Devers first, and then Guerrero in the 2nd. So even I wasn't expecting much because he wasn't a slam dunk 1st round pick for me. But
that's wild, and to see what he's done this year, and he wasn't kept. Oh God,
I've always loved Guerrero, and I've always liked Devers. But Devers has been in the league a little longer, and he's a little bit older, so you would think he's a little bit more polished. I think that's my mentality at that point.
And I got Shohei in the 7th round.
In the 7th round?
7th round.
That's pretty. Yeah, I think people were kind of questioning, what do you call it? I guess they're questioning if this this pitcher hitter thing is going to work out for him or not. And it has. So good on you for making that. I mean, you've been very high on him for like the longest time already, so it's not surprising that it's worked out. Okay, so I have James in the 1st round. I already made my prediction earlier when I said I was going to pound that juicy ass of his all week long. But do you see it the way I see it there, Sean, against James?
Yeah. I think your team is definitely the heavyweight favorite.
Damn right.
Throughout all of the playoffs. And if I come up against you, it's going to be the same game plan that I will need against Andrew, and that is I got to win my pitching matchups because I feel like my pitching is better than your pitching.
Yeah, I think so. I think
And I feel the offenses are close.
Yeah.
You definitely have the upside of Soto and Vlad, but you've also had some, had to plug in some guys like Frank Schwindel, which was an awesome move after he talked about him.
Yeah.
Luis
Connor
Robert
Joe.
coming back.
Connor Joe
Connor
went down.
Joe. Yeah, Connor Joe went
So I
down.
had to IL him. That's what happened there with Frank Schwindel. So it was when I saw Schwindel out there, I'm like, really? You guys are just letting me get this?
It was funny. We talked about him, and I was like, I'm not going to be the one that picks him up. Let somebody else pick him up.
I wasn't going to pick him up either, but
he's been
Connor
awesome.
Joe went down.
Been awesome for you.
I'd rather have Connor Joe healthy, but that's not the case. So anyway, but yeah, pitching. I don't know. It seems like my team. You know what I love about this league, though, Sean, is that it does since it's a semi-weekly league, it does a fantastic job of kind of simulating the ups and downs of a real Major League Baseball season. You know how you it's your typical team, like the Yankees, because we see Vince complaining about them all the time, despite the fact that they're winning. The Yankees will go 2 of 3, 2 of 3, 2 of 3, and then go 0 for 3, 1 of 3. They go on a 9-game road trip, and they only win four out of 9 games or whatever. and that's pretty much my season. I got off to a 4-0 start, and then I went to a 4-4 because I lost 4 games in a row. And then I go on a hot streak, then a cold streak, hot streak, cold streak. There are some periods where my hitting is carrying me, and then there's some periods where my hitting goes extremely cold, but my pitching carries me. But yeah, that's in a microscopic way. That must be what it feels like to be on a regular Major League Baseball team, going through those ebb and flow parts of the season, even on a good team. Like I said, we see it with Vince. We see it with who else complains a lot about their winning team?
Dodgers fan. We don't have too many Dodgers fans, so
yeah, but that's a good example. The Dodgers, especially. The Padres. They're a winning team, but right now they're on really.
They're crashing harder than the Mets were.
Yeah.
Okay. So when me and Andrew faced up, I finally went back and found our matchup. It was a weekend matchup at the end of July, and we tied 11-11. And who was the home team? I believe I was. Okay. So
there you go. That's all you need, man. That's all you need to squeak by that first round.
You just got to play for a tie. That's
what I'm doing. That's why it was important for me to win all these games. Oh, who cares about the seeding? I know that's the excuse people use, but screw it. I want that number 1 seed because I know what's going to happen. If a tie happens, I advance. Because I have the home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So, I mean, I don't know why everybody's not doing that. Why everybody's not gunning for that number 1 seed. But if you guys want to give them to me, I'll take it. Screw it.
I was the home team, so I got the win in that one.
So yeah, got to take advantage of those rules, man. I mean, everybody knows what the rules are, and then they act surprised when things happen to them. And like, wait a minute, why is this happening? Pay attention. It's like I don't understand. You're paying for this league. You're in a high-profile league where I am putting results up on the baseball group not as much as before, but I was for a long time. And you're letting things go by. You're not paying attention. You're not adding players to your roster, even though you have the space for it. And then you wonder why we're talking shit about your team. I mean, come on, guys. We're all adults here. I mean, either be in it or don't be in it. There's a waiting list waiting to people wanting to be in this league too. So that's the challenge for me.
I just realized that Yordan Alvarez is injured.
Yeah, he's hurt.
Left knee contusion. Oh God, no.
Yeah, he's day to day. I have a difficult decision to make in my other league, but I mean, that league is my points league is dead to rights at this point, but I still want to win. I want to win every game. Right now, I am beating the number 1 seed in that league in our final regular season matchup against him. I don't care that I'm not going to play for the playoffs. I still want to win. I play to win the game. That's what it's about. So I'm here to play spoiler to all these playoff teams because I don't give a shit. But anyway, that's a good place to stop unless you have something else to add on.
No. Best of luck to you in the playoffs.
Same to you, my friend. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we got some good news for our teams for next week. If not, I'm pretty sure we'll have plenty to talk about next week, as well as September is here. And we're also on the long stretch run for Major League playoffs. Some players got called up, rosters expanded. We want to see how these minor leaguers are going to take advantage of maybe some extra Major League Baseball playing time. We already talked about some of the pitchers. Maybe we'll talk about some of the minor league hitters that got called up. I don't know. We'll see. And then our playoffs start now, but I know other fantasy leagues playoffs start later. So if you have any playoff questions for us or streaming advice that you need from us, we are here to help you people out. That's what we're here for. Right, Sean?
Yes.
For Sean, I am Felipe. We will see you next week. Take care.